eating, drinking, watching, experiencing together with your friends and neighbors and families. Justin Dionne, your host here, excited to be back for another wonderful episode this week. Hope everybody's been enjoying our show so far. If you have enjoyed the show, we'd love for you to go and subscribe to listen to it on the regular, as they say, on the reg. And you can do that by going to your podcast app on your mobile device, whether it be maybe Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and you can hit that search bar in that app and type in Know the Scene, WSIC, Know the Scene, and you should find our podcast, and you can hit subscribe to that. And then every week when the new episode airs, because we know it's hard to always listen live. Look, we get it. I know nowadays, the radio, it can be hard to know when to tune in and you miss it. Well, I missed it. I can't. It's hard. 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Sometimes I'm still working. I got this thing, picking up the kids. We get it. Hey, subscribe to that podcast and you can listen to it on your own time. Listen to it on your own time, whenever's best for you. I enjoy it sometimes. I have some of my friends, some friends of mine who have subscribed, and they'll come to me when I see them, maybe like at the gym or something like that, and they'll comment on who we spoke to that week or things that they heard and learned. So it's always fun to hear that kind of feedback. So if you do listen, we love that feedback. We encourage you to go to the Facebook page if you're there, maybe listening live, or if you just go after and listen and just comment on the post that has our show on it so that we can know you're there. And if you have any questions for the artist or myself, you can comment there. But you can also call in live to the station as well. And I'll make sure to get you that number during the next segment to call into the station. Cain Center for the Arts continues to be rocking and rolling. We had a wonderful Black History Month celebration last weekend with a combination between the town of Cornelius, Cain Center for the Arts, and the Smithville Community Coalition all worked together on really putting together a great event that both highlighted local Black history here with the Smithville community and history in the Cornelius area, regional as well within our Charlotte region, and then even national with a performance and program by Sons of Maestro at the end of the program. And then afterwards, folks that were able to stay, and folks that bought tickets stayed and were able to watch a performance of Sons of Maestro, which are two wonderful violinists and a percussionist and then a DJ as well. And they all come together and play these wonderful renditions of what kind of reggae classics, but also different music as well. So it was a really great show, and they even featured some local violin students from the Lake Norman area that got to participate in that as well. So a great program. We continue to have a wonderful exhibit going on right now in our gallery, and including also a Black History Month exhibit by a local Charlotte artist named Bay Hart. So you can come by any day, Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. to check that out. This weekend, Friday and Saturday, Cain Center for the Arts is hosting the performance of Be More Chill, which features a lot of amazing local youth, like high school age youth talent in the Lake Norman and Charlotte region. We had a great show hosting them last week. Hope everybody listened to that. Great to hear, it's great for the kids to have an opportunity to perform this show at the center here in the community. So come check that out if you have a chance this weekend. Next weekend, man, we just keep going. We just keep going, Bill. Next weekend on Friday night, we have a performance by Joe Granston and his band that's coming to do a tribute to Tony Bennett. That show, and he was on the show a few weeks ago. You all might have heard him. And then Saturday night, we're having a wonderful piano performance by Robin Spielberg, who's here to talk with us today. So again, we encourage you to please check out cainarts.org to keep on top of our schedule and all of the wonderful programs that are coming to our region, and support all the wonderful arts organizations happening here as well. I know right now Davidson Community Players has Fun Home performing as well. Lots of great stuff going on. So with no further ado, I'd like to welcome today our guest, Miss Robin Spielberg. Robin, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, I like that effect, Bill. Nice little new effect. I like that. Robin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Excellent, excellent. And you are coming to us live today from your beautiful home studio in
Yes,
Maryland. Is that
yes.
right?
Well, I'm very close to Maryland. I'm in South Central Pennsylvania, right on the
Ah,
Maryland line.
oh,
So,
great. Great. I love your setup. You've got your Steinway, right there.
yes, I have this beautiful, I call her Victoria. She's an 1896 Victorian Steinway. I'm only her
Wow.
second owner. She was completely refurbished to my, every whim, customized. So it's an excellent, excellent piano. I can record on it. I do piano bar live streams on Friday nights.
Hmm.
So it's pretty, I spend a lot of time right here.
That's great. Well, that's important that you have a wonderful space that you feel good in with all that, if you're going to spend all that time there, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Excellent. And before the show started, I know we were chatting. You just got off a string of tour dates yourself.
Oh yeah, still kind of recuperating. I was in Nevada and Arizona and California, and then before that, I had 3 shows in Virginia. So it's been nice and busy. I'm really happy about that. I absolutely love it, and so I'm on this 11 city tour. I got about 5 or 6 shows done so far, and looking forward to seeing you soon in a couple of weeks.
Yes, yes, we are looking forward to that. Not this weekend, everybody. Next weekend. Next weekend. So where were you playing? And so was it last weekend? Or are you mostly
Just now,
touring?
yeah. Wednesday, Tuesday.
I
I
was
think I
like,
got home like 2 in the morning, Sunday night, Monday morning. I was in Palmdale, California, Southern California. I was south of Tucson in Arizona and outside Reno in Nevada.
wow.
Oh, beautiful, but very different pianos, lovely audiences. Awesome to be back. It took a while for concerts like mine to come back. As you may know, there's been a lot of, Broadway came back first, and a lot of the tribute shows and summer festivals, things that are outside.
Hmm.
But for my kind of music, it took a few years to get that back up and running after COVID.
Right, right. For audiences and everyone, and places with the indoors to kind of get more comfortable with everything.
Exactly.
Of course, of course, of course. Awesome. So we're glad. Well, we're glad to have you back on the East Coast. And you're going to where else are you going next weekend? Or are you stringing but you're coming to us on Saturday? Where are you going anywhere before that on Friday night? Are you
Yeah, I have a show in Rockville, Maryland.
okay? So you'll come down from Maryland and then down here to Charlotte on
Right.
Saturday. Awesome. All right. Well, everyone hold tight. We're gonna take a break. And then we'll come right back after this break with more with Robin. And we're going to dive into learning more about Robin and her experience and her talent and all the wonderful things that she does. Know the Scene is going to be right back, everyone.
More Know the Scene with Cain Center for the Arts Executive Director Justin Dionne is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the rain shuts off for the most part. We're mainly dry in the overnight hours. The clouds will remain, and it'll stay pretty mild. Mid and upper 50s. Even some
Sorry, thanks, Robin. So real easy.
On Wednesday morning, the wind picks up on Wednesday.
And then when we come back, it'll be much longer next segment because I won't talk so much in the beginning. I promise. I just kind of have to get all that out of the way at the beginning.
Larry's always making fun of me that I never know where I was or where I'm going. I'm a piano bench somewhere, so I'm very impressed that I remembered where it was.
Way to go! Congratulations. That's good. That's a good thing to know where you're headed and where you've been in the midst of all the crazy. Well, man, if you're coming back at 2 a.m., you need to talk to your manager about the flights they're booking you.
Oh man, you know what that was? That was Southwest ground crew walked off the job, couldn't get our luggage.
Oh no.
They're like, our shift is over, so they left, and then there was no one else. So that is why.
Oh man.
And just strongly worded tweets to Southwest.
Yes. Southwest sounds like you just can't. Well,
they reply though. I mean, I still prefer them. They give you the 2 bags free. You just kind of lovely crew always like people in a good mood. But
Yeah.
I was kind of a bummer. The whole flight was just standing there for a very long time,
Oh my goodness.
over an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, we got caught 2 weekends ago coming back from Fort Lauderdale. There was a big rainstorm in Fort Lauderdale, and our plane that was supposed to leave at 4 p.m. didn't leave until 10 p.m.
1 minute.
Now, it happens.
Yeah, you know. I mean, I always say I'm glad I was in the airport and not on the plane when they delayed it.
Yeah, always have a book. Always have a protein bar.
Right. That's right. All right, we're coming back in about just less than a minute. Bill, is that right?
Yes, about 40 seconds.
Excellent. 40 seconds.
World Live is coming to Cain Center for the Arts.
Dinosaur World Live.
That's not the only fun family.
Yeah, that's
event
exciting.
at the Cain Center for the Arts.
Yeah,
Dinosaurs in Cain
World
Center.
Live,
that's right.
Friday, March 29th. For tickets,
That's Easter. That's
and
Good
to see
Friday.
The entire spring lineup, visit
I'll say.
cainarts.org. That's
It is.
CAIN Arts.
I'm not gonna be there. Hmm?
Have an event you would like to tell people about? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event.
10 seconds.
Now, back to Know the Scene with Cain Center for the Arts Executive Director Justin Dionne on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back, everyone, to Know the Scene. A relaxing show today. A nice, relaxing show with beautiful, beautiful notes of piano wonderment coming at you today. The music that you do hear, introing the sessions today are the wonderful sounds of Miss Robin Spielberg, who is performing at Cain Center for the Arts. Coming up next Saturday at the Cain Center. You can get tickets at cainarts.org. Now, Robin, I'm going to ask this question before I jump into your history and everything, but I just have to ask on the front end. So you are a Steinway artist.
Yes.
Yes. What is tell the crowd what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be a Steinway artist?
Well, it's actually a very high honor to be added to the prestigious roster of Steinway artists. You know, you have to be invited, and I endorse Steinway and they endorse me. And certainly I can play other concert grade instruments if they're, on site. And certainly I do.
Like a Busendorfer?
But if a Steinway is not, available and there's no piano available, they'll provide one, basically for the cost of cartage. I rehearse in the different Steinway galleries and use their artist pianos when I'm doing anything on television, for example. I record on them exclusively. So
that's wonderful. So do they, when that happens, when that moment, so how long have you been a Steinway artist?
Since 1996.
All right. So a very, a considerable amount of time you've been a Steinway artist. How, do they approach you? Do you approach them? What's that kind of like?
They actually did. I was rehearsing for my Carnegie Hall debut, and I was doing a few very kind of off the radar kind of shows in New Jersey to get myself prepped and ready.
Uh-huh.
And little did I know, someone from Steinway was actually at one of those concerts.
Oh, cool.
It was supposed to be kind of a secret concert. But he was there and very impressed and kind of put my name, forward. And then I had a few interviews and they listened to my recordings and I signed on. And of course, there are a lot of classical, straight ahead classical artists that have this designation. I am an artist that kind of crosses that line. My music is very accessible to the home piano player because I play music from the Great American Songbook, and pop songs and light classical and original pieces that are intermediate to advanced intermediate for students. So it's very relatable. So I'm a different kind of artist, on the roster other than the classical artist.
Yes. So what is it about, tell me what it is about Steinway instruments for you that you gravitate toward?
Well, it's one of the last great things made right here in the United States of America. That's for sure. So right there, that's very special. There's over 12,000 moving parts inside a Steinway.
Wow.
They take over a year to make. Takes a few years for the wood to age properly to be able to be used to build a piano. And so there's great care in the craftsmanship. Um, it really takes the craftspeople, years and years to train to be able to make these instruments the way they do. I don't know if people really realize that. Other piano companies, they kind of get them off the factory line and they're mass manufactured, but Steinways are still handmade and hand
Wow.
built.
Wow.
So each one you get is different. In other words, once you play one, you can't say you've played them all. They're different in their color. The key dips might be different. The tone, the voicing, the regulation, they all vary a little bit, which means that when I'm on the road, I get to try all these fabulous, pianos, take them out for test drives. It also means that during soundtrack, I have to adapt, and I've learned how to do that. It's taken a while to learn how to do that, but I have to pretty much memorize all the idiosyncrasies of each instrument.
Interesting.
So that I can get the best performance.
Interesting. So like, so what are some of those, I guess, from your aspect, from a performer too, like, I guess, let's dig a little bit deeper and like, what are some of those idiosyncrasies you're talking about? I mean, could each Steinway have like a little bit different weight to the keys perhaps, or, I mean, is it stuff like that, or is it?
For me, mostly it's usually the key dip, how high our keys are. That makes a very big difference. But, and of course, it makes a difference on how the piano has been cared for, right? Which technician is servicing it and how they're caring for it. And not every piano could be in absolute pristine, perfect condition every time. So what I'm memorizing is those idiosyncrasies might be, one key might require a different weight than another key to make the same volume of sound.
Wow.
And so you're memorizing that as you're in your rehearsal and sound check so that you can give the most fluid performance possible.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Like, it's just like the craft, you know what I mean? Like your craft that that you have to take that time during the sound check time and to like you said, to notice, recognize, memorize, and then and then produce out during the performance afterward too. That's
Well, now I
amazing.
find it a fun challenge. I used to petrify me. It used to take me hours. I would have sound checks for hours. Now I can usually get it done in 20 minutes, at the most 45. And now I find it a challenge, how quickly and
Oh yeah,
adeptly.
which ones can you find, and how quick can you find it and get it done?
How quickly? Well,
I
I've been
love
in
it.
situations where I've done like live radio on NPR, and I've had like all of 9 minutes
Wow.
to get her done.
Wow. Wow. That's impressive. That's very impressive. So sorry. We'll tell everyone, unfortunately, like, although we just spent this time talking about how wonderful Steinway is, unfortunately, Cain Center for the Arts does not have a Steinway. We have a Bosendorfer, but I will tell you that you're actually the second Steinway artist to play Cain Center on our Bosendorfer.
I'm sure it's a beautiful instrument. Looking forward.
Thank you. We believe it is as well. Christian Sands, jazz artist, was the first one to play, the first Steinway artist. And I remember during the concert, he said, officially I'm a Steinway artist, but this Bosendorfer will do. So
yeah, we'll have to do.
That's right. That's right. So we said, good, okay, great. And he was joking, everyone. He was joking. But yeah. So something else. I guess I want to ask you a little bit too about your because you have a musical, like a drama background as well.
I do. Actually, it was a drama major at NYU.
Yeah.
So I was chasing that Broadway dream for quite some time, and I did a number of plays. I'm a founding member of the Atlantic Theater Company. You might know them from the musical now that's running Kimberly Akimbo, but also Spring Awakening and Day of Wine of Roses is now on Broadway. Lots of wonderful theater, but we've been doing that since 1985 officially.
Yes.
And so I was in the NYU class that started that theater company with David Mamet, William H. Macy, and a number of other, founding people that were board members, our mentors.
Wow. Wow. And are you still, do you still check in? I mean, as a founding member, I'm sure you're still somewhat checking in
Oh
or
yeah,
on an
no,
advisory
I
board or
still,
something, right?
yeah, I went to the Buena Vista Social Club that they're have running. It's fantastic. Um, yes, I'm very proud to have been a founding member, and make no mistake, everything I trained and learned in my tenure as an Atlantic Theater Company member, as well as a student, of theater, has is led to this pretty much because let's face it, piano concerts can be really boring. I'll be the first one to tell you that.
Oh, no.
If someone were to say, "Hey, let's go see a piano concert," and they say, "Well, what is she playing?" "Oh, music you've never heard of, like things that she wrote." You'd probably go running in the opposite direction. And that is not lost on me because I don't have the best of attention, and I could say that I love the piano. I love the piano. I've been to many piano concerts and have been bored silly. So, to incorporate, what I've learned, I know that my job as as a composer pianist who was doing these kind of performances, my job is to engage audiences. And I think I found the magic sauce for doing that so that people are not falling asleep and dead bored. They leave really engaged and go, wow, never been to a piano concert like that before. So I'd like to think that it's funny, and I do some storytelling and readings
Love
and
that.
personal sharing. And I love, gosh, this last tour that I just did, I realized that I didn't prep an encore. And so there was a demand for one. The signs, the standing ovation,
Yes,
and all the
yes.
clap.
Encore, encore.
They
Yes.
won't go home. So I said, okay, is there anything that I didn't play that you guys want to hear? And some wise guy shouts out, chopsticks. I'm like, all right. So I think I did like the most really fun rendition of chopsticks people had heard in their life. And that's all anyone was talking about at the CD signing line and the picture hugged line. They were just, have you recorded that? They said.
I love that. Well,
Buy
every
the album.
audience.
Which album has chopsticks on it? I'm like, you've got to be kidding, right?
Well, but just like you said, what an awesome testament to your, wanting to make a show out of it and make it fun and story because yes, chopsticks, but every audience always wants to feel that the show that they're at is like an individual one that like no other audience has heard, right? And so you doing that in that moment gave them
Well,
that.
I can't tell you how many times I have couples come up to me and the man will say, my wife dragged me to your piano concert. I really didn't want to go. But I loved it.
That's wonderful. Well, no one has to get drugged to see Robin at Cain Center in a couple weeks, all right? We're going to take a break and come right back.
Keep it right here. Know the Scene with Cain Center for the Arts Executive Director Justin Dionne will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the rain shuts off for the most part. We're mainly dry in the overnight hours. Clouds will remain.
All right, thanks, Robin. We're doing
Yeah,
good.
you've got radio voice. You're like,
I'm sorry, what? Oh, yeah?
Wednesday.
Well, I have a theater background as well, so I have my,
you do.
can
Oh,
turn
so
on
you
my,
understand.
yeah, so I was like, I couldn't talk to you. I couldn't interview without bringing in the theater background.
Yeah, I know.
Love that. That's so cool. Awesome. Well, we'll keep chatting for the next two segments, and the next thing you know, I mean, it goes so quickly. I mean, it really does.
It
Like,
does.
next thing you know, it'll be over. Is there anything specific you'd like to make sure that, I mean, obviously I'm going to keep, asking you questions about the show and performance and everything else, but is there anything particular you'd really like to make sure that we cover?
Well, I don't think I heard from your TD yet, so I'm going to ask you the question because I would bring it up. Do you have the ability to project the concert films You do. So we should definitely talk about that.
We do have a projector. Yeah, we have a projector and a screen in the back. So as long, I mean, I'm not going to speak for him for certain, but we've had no problem doing that for anyone else that brings it. Like as long as you bring it and
that adds a really nice element. It's another way of engaging people in the show.
yes, love that.
Eagle Rentals has construction equipment like forklifts, bobcat loaders, backhoes, excavators, and more. Reserve online at eaglerentals.com.
A little bit longer commercial break
A
here.
little bit longer break.
So you got about 2 minutes.
2 minutes, thanks, Bill. So did you do musical theater as well?
Well, I wrote some
Right.
musicals.
I saw
and I
that.
had one ran off Broadway, with Atlantic. It was, and so that was delightfully fun. And I really thought that was the direction I'd be going. I was doing some theater at Lincoln Center, and I was writing off Broadway, and I was, taking my friends to a lot of their auditions where everyone had, was singing the same stuff. So I'd compose music that sounded like it could have been from a Broadway show.
Huh.
So they'd have this unique thing to sing.
That's cool.
I was in that for a really long time. And because I was playing in piano rooms and hotel lobbies for so long, I got a record deal for original piano work. So that's, what gave me the break from acting. And I went, okay, I'll take a year and not audition for anything. And then I never looked back. Then they sold so many records. I had a tour, and I just kind of went in another direction.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I got to do it. I got to do it for 15 years. I did about 60 plays on it on Broadway and do it.
Wow.
That was great.
Well, good for you. That's awesome.
1 minute.
What a switch, though. Like, I mean, not a different switch, crazy switch, because it's just one performing artist like another performing, but like.
Well, you have a little more control. You can probably relate. You can't sit in your apartment and act. You can sit in your apartment and write music and plan the next musical project. So you can get more done because there's so many gatekeepers on the other side of it.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
30 seconds.
All right, we're back at 30 seconds. Thank you, Bill.
2,000 workers in that unit will now be transferred to artificial intelligence projects at Apple. And Macy's closing 150 underperforming stores over the next 3 years. But in an effort to focus on more upscale shoppers, it plans to open 15 new Bloomingdale stores and 30 Blue Mercury shops.
10 seconds.
Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Call now to speak with Justin Dionne at 844-STUDIO-4. It's Know the Scene on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back to Know the Scene, everybody. Continuing our conversation today with Robin Spielberg, who is playing at Cain Center for the Arts, coming up next Saturday night. Get your tickets, cainarts.org. We've had a great conversation with Robin so far today. Talked a little bit about her theater background. We were talking about some of that during the break as well, and like the switch that she did from acting to then becoming the instrumentalist that she is now. But I can imagine, Robin, you were mentioning that you were at, kind of in your theater background where you've composed like shows, like some musicals as well, and you played for friends and auditions. But where did all this start? Did you start piano at did you do at a young age, mom and dad put you in piano lessons type thing, or how did it come about?
Oh yeah, I started in the womb.
That's right. I like it.
Yeah, I give that answer because I don't really remember not playing the piano.
How cool.
Yeah, as toddlers, I begged for lessons. I didn't have formal lessons till I was 7 because my sister started when she was 7, and my parents wanted it to be fair. So I was just annoying them like crazy since probably about 4 or 5 years old. And then I started lessons when I was 7, and I told the teacher that I wanted to play all these Broadway show tunes, and she needs to help me arrange them. And she said, well, no. And I said, why not? She said, because you're 7.
You have to learn how to play first.
Which I didn't think was a good answer.
Sure.
So we actually started that when I was 7. I had such a great, creative first teacher that, she made it like dessert. If I got all the exercises done and all the classical music of the great dead men you're supposed to learn, then I'd get to have the treat of learning how to arrange a show from Broadway.
Wow.
And that's what I lived for. I lived for it.
Wow. So when you were doing like what kind of like when you say so tell me what you mean by when you say you get to arrange, a song instead of I got to learn a
Well,
song, right?
I don't know if you guys can hear the piano from like where you
Oh yeah,
are.
we'll be able to hear it.
You can? All
Yes.
right. So if I were to, let's turn that around. If you were just to look on the sheet music, you would see that, the first thing I learned was from Hans Christian Andersen. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And there's a song called Anywhere I Wander, which I thought was the most beautiful song in the whole world, right? So if you just read the chords, it goes like this. Okay. So when I talk about arranging a piece, like that's not so compelling, right? So you arrange it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Wow.
you learn how to, you know, make it flow and
Yes. Well, you added, I mean,
you had
like
flourishes.
no disrespect to Mr. Anderson, but you took something that kind of seemed a little more maybe two-dimensional and
Well, yeah,
added much more depth and movement and
right. You can add
color
movement and
and
emotion and color,
yes.
right? And harmonies and chord substitutions, and you can have a really, really good time creating that way. And
So you were doing that at
fortunately,
8.
I learned how to do this really early.
Wow.
So it became, a skill set that I had. I had no idea how useful it was going to be. But as I mentioned, I went to NYU. That school was just way too expensive for me. So I ended up working in piano bars and hotel lobbies and piano rooms playing music in my 20s, and it paid off all that NYU debt. I was playing the piano like mad for
Wow.
about 12 years in New York City rooms.
Wow, congrats. That I mean, like, that's so cool though, Like so you would go and I guess out on the rare spare time that you had, because I myself was a theater major and I mean I know we went to school at different times, I'm sure. But theater majors you don't have a lot of extra time, because usually you're in
Well,
rehearsals or you're in this and that.
this is
So
why I was so lucky. I had a gig in New York, a steady gig that was a union job that was at the Grand Hyatt, which was right above Grand Central Station. And it was 7:30 to 10:30 in the morning
wow.
and then a break, then 11:30 till 2:30 in the afternoon, which meant I could still audition for anything after 3. And if I was in a show, I could still do the show at night. So I kept that schedule, playing those 6 hours. When I was doing a play, I'd go to Lincoln Center early and I'd sleep in the dressing room for 2 hours and then do the show. So, that was just really it was godsend.
When and it keeps your and wow, like so and it's achieving multiple things. And one, I mean, you enjoy playing. Obviously, you love playing, so you're getting to do that. Two, it's lucrative, financially lucrative. So like you said, you're earning to
Yeah, and
help
you're
pay
practicing
your
on the
bills.
job and you're always learning new things because if
Exactly, yeah.
someone came in and requested, a standard that I didn't know, because I was like 24 years old. I didn't know everything, and you had to be able to play without any music at the piano. So I had a lot of songs memorized, but you really need a few thousand. Then I'd go home and I'd learn that song and bring it in the next time.
That's so
You know,
awesome. So yeah, you're getting to continue to grow your craft and get better at your, and practice in a way too, and keep yourself sharp.
right, right, super important. I mean, there's no substitute for that 10,000 hours that they talk about. You hear about it
All
for
right, yes. No, do it.
musicians and
Tell us.
people in sports. Yeah, there's just no substitute for putting in the time. There are a lot of, I think, artists that spend a lot of time marketing their careers and spending a lot of time on socials and doing things to get attention. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to do the show, do the work, do the schedule.
Right.
Um, and I am proud to say I'm in the 4th decade of doing just that. And I really don't know many, if any, contemporary female composers that are traveling and performing their own work the way I am.
Right. Right. That's something to be very much proud of with what you've done. Do you the decision to take that leap, well, I guess, I mean, you obviously had a record deal, as well, but still, but that decision to move into full-time musician, right? Out of
Hmm.
full-time actress.
Yeah.
That must have been a pretty, I mean, it had to be a really mindful and thoughtful decision.
Well, there was a little bit of an epiphany there. I was in the dressing room. I remember the moment because I was in the dressing room. I was doing a play at Lincoln Center, but I didn't have a very important role. I was understudying the lead. Um, and that's when the record deal came in. And another actress that I was working with, a friend of mine, Felicity Huffman, said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm working on this mailing for my album." She goes, "No, what are you doing?" And I repeated, "I'm working on this mailing." She goes, "You know, we are what you do. And I see you not, you know, taking the same classes anymore, running around to auditions, blah, blah, blah. I see you composing and playing piano and you're so good at it. Like, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing." And I said, "You're right." So when I took the record deal, I thought, I'll take a year off from auditioning. That's all. I'll just take a year off and see where this lands. But I never looked back. And that
That's
first
awesome.
record, Healed in the Hand, sold like 100,000 copies. And then there was a demand to tour and make songbooks. And I just had a blast putting together my own, one woman piano show.
That's wonderful. I love that. Well, and how, well, to take that leap and to have your friend, really encourage you that way too. I love that. I think that, my experience, I mean, the artistic community tends to always be encouraging of each other, when you can really have
Absolutely.
those kind of friendships. So
And
that's
it
great.
really wasn't so, happy. I felt, you know, several times, you have that feeling of, I should have gotten that part. You feel a little passed over. You feel so much less in control when you're working as an actor. Um, Before you succeed, you really are at the mercy of all the gatekeepers, of all the casting directors and directors who decide for you whether or not you're good for that part or you're right for that role. So you can't sit in your apartment and act. You can sit in your apartment and write
That's
music,
right. That's
right?
right.
And
That's right.
project. So that felt a lot more empowering to me. And you might notice now that when you are watching a film or a miniseries on TV that you really love, very often it is the very successful actors that are now producing that work because
Right.
now they could be their own gatekeepers finally.
Yes, they're in that position where they take agency, which is what you took when you went and became the full-time touring musician
Absolutely.
that you
Yep.
are now. Well, all right, we're going to, speaking with that, we're going to take another break, our last break. Everyone, don't leave us. Take the minute and then come and join us back after the break. We're going to keep talking with Robin, and we're going to have one more segment with her after the break on Know the Scene.
Stay with us. We'll have more of Know the Scene with Cain Center for the Arts Executive Director Justin Dionne in just a moment on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the rain shuts off for the most part. We're mainly dry in the overnight hours. The clouds will remain, and it'll stay pretty mild. Mid and upper 50s, even some folks near 60 through early on Wednesday morning. The wind picks up on Wednesday, gusting over 30 miles per hour. It could even gust up to 40 miles per hour as the line of heavy rain and gusty winds rolls through the area tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. That front, though, will deliver a dry day and a cooler day for Thursday with highs in the low to mid-50s. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. MuralFest is back. April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, C.M. Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at MuralFest.org. pianists.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Downtown Mooresville's Shamrocks and Shenanigans is on its way. St. Patty's Day is right around the corner. The festival is happening in downtown Mooresville. Attending is free, but there are ticket packages available for purchase. Irish dancers, pipe bands, food, and drinks. March 16th, downtown Mooresville's Shamrocks and Shenanigans is on its way. For more info, visit downtownmooresville.com. Coin collectors, get ready! The Statesville Coin and Currency Show is coming to the Statesville Civic Center March 16th and 17th, featuring over 60 tables of some of the finest coins around. For more info, contact Bill Brewer of Carolina Prospectors in Statesville. The Statesville Coin and Currency Show, Statesville Civic Center, March 16th and 17th. Want to see a Tyrannosaurus Rex? How about a Triceratops? Dinosaur World Live is coming to Cain Center for the Arts, Friday, March 29th. That's not the only fun family adventure coming to the Cain Center for the Arts.
All right, guys, 30
Dinosaur
seconds.
World Live,
Finish strong.
Friday, March 29th. For tickets and to see the entire spring lineup, visit cainarts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
It's Know the Scene with Cain Center for the Arts Executive Director Justin Dionne on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back, everybody. Know the Scene this afternoon. Enjoying a little more modern tune there. Well, they've got lots of modern tunes. Bill was like, you'll know this one, and I was like, I don't know. I really don't listen to a lot of like what the young kids listen to. But then I heard it. And I was like, I have heard that one. One. Thankfully, because Robin played it. When
That's driver's license.
Yes, the way Robin played it, I went, I have heard it. So, all right. Well, welcome everyone back. Great conversation today with Miss Robin Spielberg here, just about her experiences and her expertise and playing the wonderful piano instrument and the other parts of her career as well. Again, Robin is playing Saturday, March 9th. At Cain Center for the Arts. You can get tickets at cainarts.org. Robin was telling us a little bit before the show that, or in the show, excuse me, that, you know, she understands that someone might hear solo piano concert and think that it's not going to be enjoyable. But no, wait, she did a great job explaining to us that it's more than that. It's more than even just a solo piano. So tell us. You mentioned that there's some stories you tell. There's some things like that. Like, tell us more about the whole show.
That, you know, I'm sensitive to the fact that people ticket buyers come and they sit in a seat and watch and listen to you play, and that could be boring. So I just wanted to acknowledge that right off the bat. So I take it very seriously to make this an engaging experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I share stories on stage. I think a lot of the show is somewhat funny. I share some humiliating experiences that I've had with complete abandon and honesty. In addition, there are concert films, which I really love. So some of the pieces, not all of them, but some of the pieces have accompanying films that are really beautiful that play behind me, so that while I'm playing and while you're listening, you can see what was in my mind's eye when I composed the piece. I mean, so often now we listen to, the work of classical music artists, and we really don't have any idea why they composed it. Was this a love song? Was this something out of betrayal, or was this a joke? We don't know, and there's no context. So I'm a living composer, so I can give you the context, and I can help engage you with the films, which are quite lovely. So we'll be adding those to this tour as well.
That's wonderful. So with those films, did you, I mean, did you put them together? Did you have a filmmaker that you worked with and they did it under your direction? Like,
Yeah,
how
a
did
bit
you
of
approach
both.
it?
A bit of both. I've worked on the films, and then I have someone in Atlanta that helps me edit them together. And this last November, I had my orchestra premiere with this recording I did called "By Way of the Wind." It's a
Yes.
box, pretty box.
It is a pretty
Has
box.
all this wonderful stuff inside. And so this was full orchestra, and we had the films playing behind the orchestra. It was
Oh,
very
wow.
effective, really quite lovely, quite magical.
I love that. So it will engage all of your senses,
Multimedia experience.
multimedia experience as well as part of the show, which is going to be wonderful as well. So again, encourage everyone to get tickets for this show. It's going to be a wonderful experience to see and listen to Robin herself, and then also see these other experiences of the films and in certain songs, as well as part of the show too.
What else I noticed, Justin? I noticed in this last year or two, I guess because of the pandemic, an uptick in sheet music sales. More people returning to the piano. Maybe you took piano lessons as a child and you stopped playing, and now that you had time during the pandemic, you started to rediscover the instrument, which is fantastic. So I've been bringing sheet music along with me. We've been selling a lot of that, and I love it when piano students come or teachers bring their students. That's pretty awesome also.
Yeah, that's a great. So if you're listening and you yourself aren't just an enjoyer of piano music, but play yourself, or are taking lessons or teach maybe, so it'd be a great show to come to as well. Something else that Robin is very passionate about is music therapy. And actually, Robin, you're a spokesperson for the American Music Therapy Association. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I've been an AMTA spokesperson for several decades now. There is no doubt that there is a connection between music and wellness. And I've given a TED Talk on the transformative power of music. It's used in so many applications. It's helped children with learning disabilities. I do a lot of music and memory programs. So I do music for dementia and Alzheimer's patients. Music therapy has helped people with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease. It's helped with anxiety, ADHD. There are just so many applications. So if listeners want to learn more about music therapy, what it is, what it can do, there's a website. It's simply musictherapy.org. And there's a lot of journal articles there, information on how to major in music therapy at colleges, which universities and colleges offer majors. I just find it so fascinating about how we process music in the brain. And the neuroscience behind it is absolutely phenomenal.
When did that become something? At what point in your career did that become like something that you became really interested in?
I wasn't interested in it until I became a mom.
Ah.
My daughter was born very prematurely, and I felt extremely helpless. She was under 1 pound, and she was in the NICU for 4 months. She was just very tiny and born at 23 weeks, 5 days, which was just considered a micro preemie, given a very small chance of survival. She had a lot of medical issues, and including epilepsy and a traumatic brain injury. And from the NICU forward, music has really helped her navigate her way through the world. Not only helped her academically, but helped her socially. She joined marching band. It helped her eye-hand coordination. She studied marimba with 2 mallets in each hand. Marching band and drum corps. She's 25 now and doing great. But we saw firsthand how much music played a role in helping rewire her brain. So it was something I just wanted to share with the world.
Wow, I love that. So along with that, so you really got excited about and saw, as you mentioned, how music helped and impacted your daughter as she continued to grow and develop. Did you at some point did you literally go, there's got to be something to this music therapy thing, and you engaged with someone? I mean, how did you get engaged from there?
Yeah. So the very first kernel of that was that we had my music playing for her in the NICU.
Uh-huh.
And the nurses noticed that her oxygen saturation levels increased and her blood pressure stabilized. And there were actual, real physical
Wow.
changes that occurred. And I couldn't understand why that would happen because clearly a tiny itty bitty baby at 23 weeks who doesn't even have their eyes open yet, how could they have musical preference? So I started doing research, and that's where I found
Wow.
the work of a doctor, Dr. Stanley, at the University of Florida. He wrote a whole book on music and the premature infant.
Wow.
So I devoured that book, and then I found that there were all these other applications for music, like I told you, for all these other
Yes,
diseases.
yes.
And I just went crazy on it, and so I found the Music Therapy Association, and I called them, and we met, and we found we were a really good match. And so I became, an artist advocate for them.
Wow. That's amazing. And you along with doing your concerts, you'll go do as you mentioned, you've done a TED Talk, but you also will go and do musical therapy events or sessions around
Yeah,
the
I'm not
country as
personally
well.
a music therapist that's certified. So what I do is that I do a workshop called the Introduction to Music Therapy,
Oh,
explaining what it
okay.
is, what kind of education you need. I will go into nursing homes and assisted living and do a music and memory program here at the piano, like I name
Wow.
that tune, and trigger memory in the listener, which is also often very enjoyable for families to see their
Yes.
loved ones who are suffering with memory loss kind of come back to life through music. So I do those sorts of things for them. I've done a number of benefits as well for music therapy, and I do a keynote on music and mental health because there's a mental health crisis in our
Mhm.
country and not
Mhm.
enough service providers. So there's a lot of ways that you can use music to help cope with mental struggles.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, well, I love that, and congratulations on your work on that. I mean, that's well, and everything on the career that you've built, and the pivot that you made into music. Do you ever think Robin Spielberg will show back up on the stage again as an actress?
One never knows.
Ah,
I might be a very old lady talking like the Russian accent because I'm 96 years old doing some kind of play. I don't know.
there you go.
Who
You
knows?
never know. You never know. For the right role, right? The
The
right
right thing has to
role.
come along.
That's right.
And Meryl Streep has to be in the cast,
There you go.
and Patti LuPone.
Yeah, you just that's it. That's
So
it. You have your
those two sign on. I guess they can get me.
that if they come and approach you and they say that.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
listen, but you know what? Like as cool as that may sound, that's not what we need. What we need is Robin Spielberg on the piano at Cain Center
do.
for the Arts.
I need it too.
All right. Here, coming up, make sure you all come to the performance. Again, Robin's coming to Cain Center for the Arts on March the 9th. Come see her, canearts.org for tickets. Robin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. What a pleasure it was talking with you.
Yes, ma'am. You as well. And we will look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Everyone have a great day.